Here you go. Good morning, good morning. I will be right back and we will get started. You're welcome. Good morning. I've got more people to let in. Good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, even though it feels like I don't know what day. And we are at the last session of Ignite for since we started. This is week 20, and we're going to finish up. If you were with us on Tuesday, you will know we talked about this last session, which is plan your future. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was racing back to the computer. So we're going to get started because we've got a lot to do to wrap this up. And then I'm also kind of going to give you a preview of what June is going to look like class-wise. Okay. So here we go. How's everybody this morning? David, Connor, Autumn. Who else? I saw somebody else come on. So good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kristen.
Good morning.
Okay, let me turn up my volume so I can hear everybody. Good morning. All
Good morning.
right. Okay, and thank you for having your cameras on. That's what I request. If you can have your camera on, please do. So much nicer looking at faces than little black boxes. Thank you, Autumn. Autumn, I feel like I was just with you. Well, she was here last night for launch orientation along with Jeremy. So I appreciate you being here last night and then showing up this morning. So, well, we're going to get started. And we've got some stuff to look at, to do, to talk about, and just jump in if you have questions or comments. Please don't hesitate to participate. Actually, I love participation. So let me get us started. I'll share screen here in just a moment. I just have to queue it up and share screen. And I do want to share with you, some of you've been asking if Billy, my assistant, is all caught up in loading the Ignite sessions, the most recent ones, and the contracts. I believe he is up to date. They're all under videos, media on the Facebook page. So I saw that he had done quite a few. So if you're looking for one of the recent sessions and you hadn't found it, that it should be there. And he's got the title and the date on it. So that's a good thing. Well, let me go into slideshow and we'll get this party started. Anybody else feel lost what day it is because of Memorial Day weekend? I keep going, what day is that? I don't know. It messes me up so badly. And I'm like, oh, okay. I got to get my Thursday mindset because each day is, I've got different focus every day. And some days, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, are my busiest. So I've got to really, really check my schedule. And that's one of the things as we look at planning your future in this wrap up of Ignite is asking yourself, where am I in some of the things, key elements for my business? Like, do you guys time block? How do you use your calendar? What kind of calendar do you use? Is it paper? Is it digital? Do you kind of mix the two? I have some agents who do that. I don't know how they do it. But I'm going to tell you, it is one of the skill sets and business habits that you need to grow. And here's why. If you don't, and you start getting busy, especially as a solo agent, you're going to double book. You're going to miss appointments. You're not going to get things done. You're going to miss deadlines, contract deadlines. So it's essential that you start blocking your calendar of where your focus needs to be. Also, it's important because when you're self-employed, so if you haven't been self-employed before, it's a different world. It's a different world. It took me a lot of adjusting coming in from a corporate world into being self-employed. And so there are some things that you're going to probably be really good at as a self-employed person. There's going to be some things you're really bad at, and you've got to build good business habits. And one of them is learning how to time block and making sure that you know what you need to focus on when. Now, I see people who time block, and I've been guilty of it too, time blocking and having a beautifully organized calendar. Oh, I'm going to do this at this time. I'm going to do this at this time. And guess what? You see it on your calendar and you totally ignore it, right? Anybody done that? You're going to have to discipline yourself to start following that calendar. So if that's not something that comes natural to you and that you're not very good at, you're going to have to learn how to get good with that. Okay. So I'm trying to so I'm casting screen in here. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. There we go. Good deal. All right. Okay. So let's go back to just the very first thing we need to do. Besides me going off on a little tangent on time blocking, if you would please scan, check in, use the bit.ly link, whichever. I see who signs in. Remember, if you're watching this as a recording, please go ahead and scan and do a check-in so we know that you've been watching these videos, okay? If you cannot scan the QR code, then just type in the bit.ly link at the bottom of this screen. While you're doing that, we're going to talk about taking some action because we're going to do a little legion here in our first couple of minutes. Okay, hopefully you got that check-in or wrote down the bit.ly or did a screenshot because we got work to do. We're going to take some action. We're going to do some activities. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to minimize the screen. So the idea is let's go do something now. And here's a great one to send to 5 people you know. And if this is a new activity for you, reaching out to people and talking real estate, and you're like, oh, please don't make me do this, or oh, this feels uncomfortable, pick 5 people, pick your mom, pick your dad, pick your brother or sister, your spouse, pick some people that you'll be fine sending this to and tell them, my coach told me I had to do this. But this is a great exercise to see if someone is really would be interested in just having a conversation about maybe selling their house. So you're going to text 5 people or post on your social media the following message. Finish the sentence for me. If I could sell my house for blank dollars, I would list my home. And then you say, I can't wait to hear your answer. Okay, we're going to take, let's take 8 minutes to do this exercise of reaching out to 5 people. And if you can text more people, great. You can text and post this on your social media if you really want to get the biggest bang. So let's do this exercise and let's see if we can get somebody to bubble up. Remember, we're always looking for conversation starters. And this is a wonderful conversation starter. And then if anybody bubbles up and answers this, invite them to our upcoming home selling seminar on Tuesday, this next Tuesday, the 4th of June at 6 p.m. It's a great way to look like a professional right off the bat. It's a great way to show value. So again, we're looking for those things that we can have a conversation because we got somebody thinking. I will tell you one of the things that got me thinking, because I think about graduation season and think about your friends or family, coworkers who are going to be empty nesters because their kids just graduated from high school and they're going to be going off to college. One of our agents here asked me when my daughter graduated from high school, and that would have been 8 years ago. And he asked me, come on in. He asked me one question. We are texting Red Curve 5 people this message right here or posting it on social media to try to see if we can raise some conversations, get some people to reach out. So Peter Hyde here in this office, and I've known Peter for a really long time because we were at a different brokerage together, and that's how I first met him. He asked me a question when my daughter got ready to graduate high school. He said, you're going to stay in that house, that big house and on that acreage all by yourself when she goes to college? I thought I had thought about this. I thought I knew what I was going to do. But that one question from Peter made my head like just explode. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Am I going to stay? I thought I was going to stay. I don't know. Am I going to stay? And then before I knew it, I'm doing comps on my house. Well, if I did sell my house, what would I get for it? And then I see that and I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I could sell my house for this. Then the next thing I'm doing, I'm looking for houses for sale. I did that for about 2 weeks. I actually went and saw a couple of houses. That one question from Peter Hyde made my head explode. So that also could be something that you text some people, is if you know some people are gonna be soon empty nesters, or they are empty nesters, hey, you gonna stay in that house? Now that your last chick flew the coop, are you gonna stay? Or have you thought about moving? Again, we wanna get, because people think they think about, I thought I'd figured it out, but that, here, I tell them to this day, you made my head explode with that one question. And that's what some of these questions can do. If I could sell my home for X amount of dollars, what I would list my home. So most people have a dollar amount. Now, some of them may be very smart aleck answers. Yeah, $5 million, I'd move. Right? But that's a start of a conversation. And you can say, if it's a good friend, say, oh, you're funny. Yeah, I'd love to get you 5 million for your house, but would you like to know what the current value could be? So bring them down to the serious level of, because if they saw how much equity they possibly could have in their home, they might think differently about what they could do. And it's our job to get people thinking, ask the right questions, and we can get them thinking about these things. Don't wait. Here's what a lot of agents made the mistake of. We wait for them to come to us. We say, hey, we're a real estate agent. If you want to buy or sell and invest in real estate, let me know. And we leave it at that. No, we should be asking them these kinds of questions that just make them think, make them question, make them curious, right? And that's what this activity does. And I would challenge you, if you could do this every day for 5 days, this question to people. Do it to your whole database that you know lives in a home. And then I was saying, Rutger, before you came in, if anybody raises their hand or answers this, responds to you, say, hey, then come to my upcoming home selling seminar on Tuesday. Love for you to be my guest. Remember, if you're not familiar with what my home selling seminar is, I sponsor 4 seminars. I sponsor 4 seminars for you to host. Don't say my office is putting it on. Say I'm hosting a home selling set. It is yours. You can put your branding on it and everything. I just put it together. I'm just a vehicle for you to use. And again, it's a reason to maybe get people to ask questions. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to sell my house. Or somebody who says to you, every response can be the start of a conversation. Even if somebody says to you, Rutger, they say, I'm never moving. I get that. I don't like to move either. However, did you know, because I'm an agent, if you need a landscaper, if you need a painter, plumber, come to me. I've got, and even if you don't have that list of vendors yet, you're going to put it together, and there are agents here who will refer people and let you know who they use, so you can start building that vendor list. And say to them also, hey, well, I know you're never moving, but if any of your kids need to buy their first house, I mean, think of, that's the beauty of social media. You can see who's hitting life goalposts, meaning one of their kids is getting engaged. Those engagement pictures. Okay, that is a point of celebration. And, well, okay, so it looks like your daughter's getting married. That's so exciting. Where are they going to live? I'd love to help them find their first home. See what I'm saying? You look for those life events that give reason for you to celebrate, acknowledge, and show value. Let me see where my timer is. I was giving you guys 10 minutes. We've got about a minute and a half to go to text this or put it on your social media. So that, and I want to hear if you get anybody responding. These are the type of activities that don't really feel like lead generation, but they are. These are the activities you need to be doing on a regular basis to engage people. And so the home selling seminar is going to have a panel of experts. I have a home inspector coming. I have a home stager coming. I have a home warranty rep coming. I'm going to talk about the market with sellers. I'm going to talk about commissions and the settlement with sellers. I'm going to have the conversations that'll probably be hard for you to have. I'm going to have them so that if any of your guests decide to move forward and you have a listing appointment with them, we will have already talked about, well, do I have to pay a buyer's agent? Because
So
they're hearing it in the media. Yes.
that was actually gonna be one of my questions in the seminar, is it going, like, will you go over the benefits of compensating the buyer side?
You bet.
Okay.
You bet. I'm going to go through the benefits of getting a pre-listing inspection, of placing a home warranty on your house, of staging your home. I'm going to talk about the current market. And yes, it's a seller's market, but it's not anything goes.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm seeing more price reductions. If you look at, most of you probably are starting to get those email blasts on properties to your email, because they get those lists from MLS and they start sending you these property flyer emails, right? And I've seen more price reductions and agent bonuses. $5 bonus, $5,000 agent buyers bonuses. I haven't seen those in forever. And all of a sudden I've seen more than 5 in like 7 days. And I'm like,
Mhm.
what? Those usually don't work well, because then the buyer says, well, won't you give that to me? I mean, it's just like,
Mhm.
won't you reduce your commission, or can't we apply that to the reduction of of the price of the property? So I'm not a fan, but that shows you that listing agents are really trying a lot of different things to try to get buyers for their listings. So not everything is flying off the bat. Okay, so did everybody text at least 5 people? Yeah, yeah. I see a little head shaking. Yeah, okay. Okay, let me know, even while we're doing this right now, doing this class, if somebody responds to you while we're doing this morning, let me know. Let me know. I want to know if anybody responds. Okay. All right. Thanks for getting into action. We had homework. I posted it on the Facebook, on the launch Facebook page. We had homework from Tuesday. It was gain clarity on your big why and plans for your future. So your big why is, why the heck did you get into real estate, and what do you want it to provide you and your family? And your big why can be more than one thing. It doesn't have to be just one thing. But it is what's going to motivate you, get you out of bed, and get you doing the work when you don't feel like it. I thought it was very insightful last night, Autumn, when Jeremy was saying he has another job, he has another business. It's remodeling. And he said, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed when I should. He goes, and sometimes I'm late to appointments and I know I shouldn't be. I have to be more disciplined, right? But you're self-employed and you've got freedom and flexibility, and you want financial opportunity. Well, there's a little conflict with the freedom and flexibility to get to the financial opportunity. Does that make sense? So be careful how you embrace being self-employed. I hear and see agents, not just new agents, but experienced agents say, I'm self-employed. I get to decide when I work, how I work, or what. Yes, you do. But also those decisions you make will reflect on the success of your business. So if you say, I'm going to do this full time, and you only put in 15 hours, 15 hours into real estate, you can do a lot of busy stuff. But are you truly doing real estate? And you think you're going to make 6 figures? I'm going to bust that bubble. It's not going to happen. That's not how this works. Being an entrepreneur means you're willing to give it your all, to work hard, and to work until things start to happen and not give up. Set your personal and business budgets. Make sure you understand. Please, please, please. Here's another thing that's going to happen. Have you all started? I know, Connor, you probably get them because you've been licensed longer, those solicitations to buy leads or marketing and stuff. And some of them sound like you can't live without their help, right? But there's a cost for that. And some of it, I'm going to tell you, when you're new, please do not be throwing money out there on marketing unless you have additional dollars that you've set aside for a marketing budget and you came to this new career with that. Most agents don't. Some do, a rare small amount do. But if you're tempted to spend any dollars on leads or on marketing, please talk to us, the coaches. And it's not that that is not worthwhile. It may not have a place in your business right now. It might not make sense. Like, you can buy leads. They're expensive. And right now, I'm not hearing a lot of good things about the quality of leads out there, especially Zillow. Zillow used to be the golden child. And now it costs thousands of dollars a month to get those Zillow leads and good zip codes. However, I'm not even hearing some of our agents who have done Zillow for a long period of time, they're weaning themselves off because the quality's not there. And something to know about, like social media leads, especially like Facebook leads, those are usually not now leads, they're looky-loo leads who are thinking down the road. So a lot of those are not now business, but you pay for them. So I 2 years ago, we had a new agent spend a lot of money on marketing. He never talked to us about any of it. And he bought slick magazines with his picture on it for thousands of dollars. He shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Whew. And he's like, I didn't know it looked and sounded so good. Well, yeah, it did. Oh, they're good at what they do. That's why they're marketers. They make it all look sexy and yeah. And they make it sound like you have to have it. So when you're looking at your personal and business budgets, be real. And make sure if you're going to spend money there, you're going to get a return on it. And here in the beginning, mostly you should just be doing sweat equity. That's the most impactful thing you can do. And then as you grow this business, then you can invest some marketing dollars in. I'm not saying don't spend any money on marketing, but just be very careful. I don't want you getting in debt before you ever get into business. And it's easy to do. When I first started here, there was a new agent that had come on board right before I came on. And he said to me, he came in, he goes, I quit my job. I bought a new car before I quit my job. I got a new cell phone and I got a new laptop. Guess what happened to him in 90 days? Out the door and in debt. Had to go get a job, a 9-to-5 job, because he already put himself in debt before he was ever making a dime in this business. Your car is fine. As long as it's functional, just clean it. Make it clean, okay? Your cell phone's fine right now. Your laptop, even if it's limping, then come and use ours for the things that you can't do on yours. Don't spend the money. Open the additional bank accounts for taxes and expenses and other savings. Make sure you're going to, this is where Rutger being, from accounting and numbers and everything, this is going to be a strong suit for him, but you've got to start running this like a business. Do not commingle your funds. Don't mix them in and don't deposit those commission checks into your personal business account or your personal account, checking account. Okay. And if you're not sure what to do, get with a tax professional. I'm not one. I just know what not to do in these cases. You're going to also the MREA business plan. We're going to, if you watch, I have a video of an introduction to the MREA business plan. If you are a numbers person, and you really love a good spreadsheet, then talk to your coach right away about the MREA business plan. If it's not your cup of tea, we introduce it a little bit later for you because for some people, it'll just overwhelm. I'm not a natural numbers person. The first time David showed it to me 11 years ago, I wanted to puke. I was like, oh my God. He goes, and you're gonna teach people how to use this. And he showed me all the like zillion tabs that he had on it. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I learned how, what it was for, how to use it, and now I love it. But for those of you who are not natural numbers people, we can show you how to just focus on certain things in it. And those for you who are number nerds, you're probably going to look at every tab and spend time and be filling it all out. And that's okay too. So you can use that tool. Yeah, and having those people make sure, you know, you're supposed to file your taxes quarterly as a self-employed person. You're also going to pay more taxes because you're self-employed. So that's why you want to talk to a tax professional about incorporating in an LLC or an S Corp to figure out what's going to be best for you. Because you're going to be, remember, nothing gets taken out except for commission splits out of the net check that you get. No state taxes, no federal taxes, Social Security, none of that is taken out. So you're going to think, I got all this money. Well, no, some of it's already got it. It's claimed. Now, here's what I get. I get that on your first couple of checks, you might have to spend every penny because it's been a little bit since you had your last paycheck, right? But be aware of the amount that should have been set so that you're going towards that to put that in your next couple, okay? Homework. Let's talk about what we're going to get into today. And what we're going to talk about is, well, one, it's the final day of Ignite. And some of you have come into Ignite kind of midstream, and that's okay, because we're going to repeat it, or you can watch the videos that are on the closed Facebook page under media and then video. But we're going to close out this transactions section of Ignite. And Tuesday, we talked about your business mindset. You know, I touched on 90% of your success is tied to what?
Your mindset,
What is it, Connor?
your mindset, how
I
you
can't
think.
hear you. Hold on. Let me see if it's me.
Can you hear me now?
Try again, Connor, and see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying your mindset, how you go about and think.
100%. Well, 90%. 90%, and then 10% is your skill and knowledge. And we know when you're self-employed, you can get in your head a lot easier for good and bad. Again, that's another danger of being self-employed. This is an isolating business. That's why it's important to have a community around you to make sure that you're not feeling like the Lone Ranger. It's easy to come aboard into this business and be gung-ho in your first 90 days. You're like charging. You're like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm in the training. I'm going to get in the activities, and I'm doing everything that the training and coaches say. And at 90 days, you look around, you go, nothing's happening. This does not work. And some of you might be ready to throw in the towel. I'm going to tell you, you got to keep on going. This is not a short game. This is the long game. You've got to be willing to embrace that. It's not going to feel good some days, but when you're in a community and you see other people having the same struggles and same challenges and then the same wins, here's where I'm going to help you. In the beginning, the small wins are a big deal. So like what you just did, texting those 5 people, you did lead gen today. And I don't know if you've done lead gen yet or how much you've done because you're new or newer, right? So that was a win today. I don't want you to get it in your head that I am not winning until I have a signed buyer, signed listing, or something under contract or a closing, because all those things are leading to that. So celebrate the small wins, because the small wins are going to get you to the bigger wins. So I don't want you thinking that, oh no, when they talk about victories and stuff, like in Wednesday Night Warriors, and I don't have anything going on. No, you did your first open house, big win. You worked on your database and got complete information for 20 people this week, big win. And we will celebrate those with you. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's talk about, let me get us in the next. Okay, remember, and Ignite, we've talked about, and this is part of the 5-week success plan. That 5-week checklist. So if you did the orientation program, the launch program orientation online, watching the video, then the next time you're in the office, you need to get the booklet from me. Okay, Redker got it yesterday. You need to get the booklet from me. Okay, so in the 5 weeks is a success. It focuses on the daily 10-4. And the daily 10-4 is do this. If I could get you all to embrace doing this every day of, or every weekday of your first year of real estate, you'll be winning. I have no doubt. You have 10 conversations a day. So talking to 10 people. You add those 10 people to your database or the additional information you got from them from that conversation into your command database. You write 10 notes to those people or text messages, because I know some of you will never send a handwritten note, but there's power in it. Saying, hey, I loved catching up with you. And maybe it's to some people saying, hey, I'm sorry we didn't connect. When do you have time to chat? Love to catch up. And remember, you have permission not to talk hardcore real estate with these people. It's okay, just connecting. Because how many of you have people in your phone you haven't talked to in a really long time? Anybody? Anybody? So we all have people in our phone. And is it because you don't like them you haven't talked to them? No, not usually. Matter of fact, if you don't like them, they're probably not still in your phone. It's usually because life has gotten busy and they've been busy doing stuff and you've been busy doing stuff and you just haven't had time to catch up. So think of it as a luxury that this new career of yours allows you to get in contact and catch up with people that you really like and you miss. Take advantage of that. And then you're going to do social media engagement, and there's the 10-5-1 or the 5-5-5. So I'm going to do the 5-5-5 because I think it's easier to remember. 5 likes of other people's social media post, 5 comments on 5 different people's social media post, and 5 direct messages or IM instant messages to 5 different people. So that's 15 different people. Okay. Because if you have not, Rick, are you active on social media?
Depends on what platform.
Which platform are you?
I like LinkedIn the best.
Okay. Pretty active on there?
Decently active.
Okay. So, increase that activity. Increase it,
Yeah,
increase it, increase it. And I don't recommend trying to be on all platforms.
Mhm.
Find 1 or 2 platforms that you connect with, that you like interacting on. Don't force yourself to go somewhere that you're like, I hate this, because it won't work.
Right.
It doesn't work if you go in there, especially some of them. LinkedIn is a more professional environment. But Facebook is not. It's more like a backyard barbecue. So if you're not authentic on there, and if you're straight, if you're just stiff, and yeah, it's not going to work. You get it. So find the social media that works for you and then start engaging. Because if you've just been a lurker or a watcher and you don't really interact with anybody, then most people are not seeing your feed. You're not showing up in their daily news feed. You're not, unless you interact with them. And so if you want them to start seeing your social media posts, and if you want to build a business page, social media business page, which I recommend if you're going to be active. But if you're not, then your social media business page will have nobody will see it, because it will be based on how much you interact with others. Social media, I learned this in an early Keller Williams training. Social media is not about you being interesting, like saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's about you being interested in other people. And the minute you start showing interest, when I started doing the 555, my social media, the algorithms and the people who interacted with me changed dramatically. I started seeing people that I had to go look at my friends list and start going to people that I didn't see in my newsfeed. And I'm like, well, they're never on social media. Oh, yes, they were. They posted something yesterday and the day before. They're just not in my newsfeed because I don't interact with them. So I had to go in there and find people and start interacting with them. And that changes the dynamics. People love it when you pay attention to them. It's human nature for almost all of us. Even the people who say, no, I don't want that attention. On some level, they want some recognition, maybe not loudly, but they want some recognition. And then the enrichments, how are you going to enhance your learning and your skills and your knowledge? Okay. So that daily 10-4, I would also add on there going and previewing 10 properties every week. And if you come to the office on Tuesdays, go to the business meeting, go on agent tour, and you can see on a Tuesday, it helps build your knowledge of what the dollar buys in all of Kansas City. It also gets you meeting other agents, and there's a power to, like, when you're writing an offer, especially as a new agent, and you're going to be sending it to an agent who you met at one of their agent tour, and be able to say, hey, I remember meeting you at 123 Main Street or that house in Prairie Village. And I would be excited to do a deal with you. Okay, there's power. We've got to network with other agents because those are very important relationships. Who you are and how you are perceived as a professional in this industry can make a difference in whether your offer gets accepted. Because if there are two offers that are similar, and as a listing agent, here's what I'd be doing. I'd be looking at, because you don't just look at the highest offer, you look at the highest offer with the most qualified buyer. Then I'm actually looking at who their lender is, and then I'm looking at who their agent is. And if it's an agent that's a hot mess versus another similar offer with a really good agent, I'm going to say to my seller, I know this agent can get it done and to the finish line. This one, I've really not had good interactions with. They're kind of all over the place. I don't know if they can get us to the closing table. So those going on agent tour or go visit open houses on the weekend, to as many as you can do. It also shows you the good and bad and ugly of holding open houses. And again, build your knowledge, product knowledge. You've got to start learning what the dollar buys in different parts of Kansas City, even if you're from here. So daily 10-4, part of the 5-week success plan. It gives you direction. It gives you focus of what you need to do. And if you do this every week of your first year, 1, you will have a phenomenal database. And 2, you will have started really a good foundation and building momentum in your business, because it's all about conversations. Here's what you all need to know. That right now, fewer people, you've heard it, we don't have as many buyers actually buying houses, even though there's buyer need. And we have fewer houses, right? So what that means is our turnover rate in this business, meaning how many people in a year, what percent of people in a year are going to buy or sell houses, has dropped. It dropped last year. It's usually 10 to 12% a year. So think of the people you know. How many people do you have in your phone? Of those people, then look at what 10 to 12% would be of those people that could be possible business, but last year it was 4%. And this year, I have not seen the statistics, but from what I'm seeing and feeling, I think it's at 4 too. So that means you got to build a really good database or go talk to a lot of strangers to start building a database to get enough people that are going to be ready to buy or sell, because there are fewer of those people out there, right? So you just have to be strategic. Don't say, woe is me, oh, there's less buyers buying right now. No, it just means you have to be strategic about this. Again, it's how you think about it. Say, okay, that just means I have to have more conversations. You do that daily. You talk to 50 people a week. I promise things happen. Activity begets results. Any questions on the daily 10-4? Okay, good deal. Importance of accountability. Keeps your mindset focused and positive, reminds you of your big why, challenges you and makes you uncomfortable at times, and is one of the 6 personal perspectives. The 6 personal perspectives was in Ignite session number 1. And it is these 6 personal perspectives that Gary Keller put together after looking at, I don't know even how many successful people to see what they have in common. And one of the personal perspectives he found, or traits that he found with them, is highly successful people hold themselves accountable. So I'm going to ask all of you a question. How do you hold yourself accountable? Rutger, how do you hold yourself accountable?
Well, have Nate and Logan who I talk to,
Mhm.
so just trying to, make sure I'm on that progression. I always put everything in the calendar, so I have something, whether it's blocking off cold calls or social media posts or open houses or lunches or coffees,
Mhm.
something structured.
Yeah. So you have a goal and then you're trying to achieve those
Mhm.
activities. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Do you, because accountability is different for everybody. How do you, if you don't meet those goals, do you tell yourself you can't do something, can't buy something, or what have you? Or do you reward yourself if you get to
Yeah,
those
be
goals?
rewarding. So.
Okay. No, and the reason I ask is some people want the punishment,
Mhm.
and some people that shuts them down,
Right.
and they'll go for the don't hold a stick to them, right?
Right.
So I want you to think individually, because I hear as coaches, we hear, hold me accountable, coach, hold me accountable. And I'll look at you straight on and say, I can't hold you accountable. Only you can. But let's figure out what that looks like. And if that means you want to report to your coach every day what you accomplished, or every week, and that helps knowing that somebody's looking at that, but I can't force you.
No.
I can't. So don't tell me, hold me accountable. Yeah, be really hard on me, because everybody who's told me that, and then I start following up and say, hey, didn't see your numbers today. Didn't see your numbers today. Then they start ghosting me, and then they won't even look me in the eye. They're like, oh God, oh God. So they didn't really mean it. And I'd rather find the way that works for you. David, how do you hold yourself accountable? What works for you?
I got I have like a goal sheet. Well, you can't see it, but I have like my yearly, like, it's blurred out. I have a goal sheet that I write down each year. Those are the big goals that I want to accomplish each year. And then I got my little Disney planner to make sure that I'm staying on track. We're trying to go to Disney next year, so the Disney planner as a
So
whole
you
is
got
a reminder
the
to.
Disney countdown planner.
Yeah, a little Lilo and Stitch. I'm a 6'5" grown man carrying around a Lilo and Stitch planner. So
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, nobody's gonna mess with you, even if you are carrying a Lilo and Stitch planner.
sure.
I love that. Connor, how do you hold yourself accountable?
Yeah, mine's kind of similar to David. I have a little notepad here that usually in the morning I write down everything, or Monday kind of for the week that I need to get done. And it sits in front of me every morning. And once I get it done, I cross it off. But if it doesn't get done, it just, it sits in front of me each day as a reminder to get it done. So
So I heard David is gonna reward himself if he hits his goal. Do you punish yourself, Connor, or do you reward yourself?
Uh, it's more so, I don't know, like if I get it all done, it's kind of a sense of like I accomplished it. And
Okay.
then if I didn't get it done, it's kind of, but I don't have like a way of rewarding myself or not.
No, that's okay. So for
Yeah.
you, the satisfaction of getting things done is your reward. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. That's more me. I don't reward myself. I don't punish myself, but I'm very competitive with myself. Like, we only got half of that done, but last week you got all of it done. So for me, that it's that I kind of gamify it for me of what I want to get done and how many appointments I need. And I'm always looking how many every time I have an appointment, I look, for recruiting, we have a spreadsheet, and I look at my counter and I see, okay, so that means I only now have 4 more appointments to hit my goal this week or this month. And so I'm always looking at that because that's kind of a game with me of, okay, I knocked one off and then I've got to see it. Because then it makes it feel more real if I see I got another one and I'm almost to my goal. What about you, Autumn? How do you hold yourself accountable?
I use a program called Notion, and you can make a whole bunch of different types of databases. You can make calendars, you can make checklists. And so I have different pages for each of my bigger goals. And then on each one of those pages, I have checklists so that I know exactly which steps I need to take to achieve them. And I don't really punish or reward myself either. It's more so like any unfinished task or task that I know I'm behind on will kind of weigh on me, and I can't really enjoy any time that I do take off until it's completed, so it's not bugging me anymore.
Gotcha. But again, it just shows we all have individual ways. And I think it's important, especially becoming self-employed and starting this new business, that you understand what works for you. And then I want you telling your coach what works for you so they can work with you. Because I remember going to a coaching training years ago, and we were doing role play, and I was partnered with this other coach, and he said, and if you don't make, he said, what do you want to accomplish this year? What are your big goals and what have you? And I wrote those down. He said, and if you don't accomplish those, then you're going to have to write a check to some organization you don't like. And I looked at him and I said, that won't work for me. That's not a driver for me. That's not going to work. Punishing me doesn't work. I'm hard enough on myself. I don't have to have the punishment part. So it was recognizing you've got to listen to what works for you, and your coach will help you. We can be a reason for you to get this done, meaning a touch point, but remember, it is all you. That accountability at the end of the day, you have to own it and be responsible for it. Does that make sense? Because a coach, I think there's a misnomer that we as coaches can make you do stuff. We hope to inspire you. I can't make you, only you. And as a self-employed person, that's that entrepreneurial spirit. That's that drive in you. And I believe you're in this business because all of you have some level of drive that you want something of your own. Whether you want this business to be something that supplements your income or this is going to become your sole income, all of you have some kind of, Connor, you have another job, but you show up at a high level. So you've got extra drive. You don't have to do this, right? So kudos, you've got that in there. So you're driving yourself. So remember, you've got to recognize that in yourself. So this is a commitment to success. I'm going to post it on Facebook, but it's what I want you looking at so that you can continue to build these good business habits. And it is, let me minimize the screen here so that we can all see this. Let me move the little zoomy thing over. Okay, so it is working with accountability partner, whether that is another agent here in the office, whether that's a spouse, a partner, your best friend. I don't care. Find someone, and you can have more than one accountability. Your coach can be your accountability partner. I find that a lot of times that many of us, when it's a peer, it works better because they're working on the same stuff as you, right? Having the 10 conversations a day, adding the 10 people to your database or complete contact, lead generating through social media, or remember, if social media is not your thing, then we'll find something else that is. While it can work really well for you and your business, there are people it's not a fit, and they've found other things that work equally as well. So don't feel like, I just feel like in this day and age, people feel like they're forced to do social media. And you don't have to be successful. Because if you don't do it well, then it's a waste of time. If you don't do it consistently, you have to do it at a high level to get any return. So if you're just making a post a week, that's nice, but don't expect a lot. Adding enrichments to daily learning. Continue to be a learning sponge. I know once you close 4 deals, you're going to be like, yeah. Some of you will be like, I got this. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because it could have been your first 4 deals, everything went swimmingly. Probably not one of them. Yeah, that would be against the odds to have all 4 go with no issues, right? So every deal is different and you're going to learn something different. 21 years in this business, and I learn new stuff all the time. All the time. Being a broker and having seen so many issues, I learn something new all the time. So remember, how you grow in this business, you're not going to buy more. It's not like a retail business. You're not going to buy more product or buy a bigger space or have more employees or what have you. You're going to grow you, because by growing you, your skills and knowledge, that's what grows your business. Make sense? So this really, the agents who stop their learning usually hit a plateau and they can't get past that plateau. So they'll have the same level of income and business every year in, year out, and they can't get over that because they haven't expanded their skills and knowledge. And different markets require different skills and knowledge. So when we start shifting towards a buyer's market, because it'll happen, I've seen it go all directions. I've seen extreme buyer's markets. I've seen extreme sellers markets. I've seen a balance. Balance never lasts very long. It's like, oh, we had balance. Yeah, where'd it go? Now, it doesn't mean we swing way over to the other side, but you'll start seeing the movement. And I've seen where our market moves in 7 days. So that's also building that knowledge of how do I look at the data in MLS and start assessing, seeing trends. And you can, if you look at that daily graph on the front page of MLS, there's a graph of showing you how many new listings, how many sold, closed, how many price adjustments, how many under contract. And I always set that graph for a 7-day window. So when I'm looking at it on a regular basis, I start expireds. If I see expireds start trending up, that's telling me something about the market. If I see more price reductions, that tells me something about the market. So you've got to start building that awareness and be hungry for that information. Because what are you supposed to be? Real estate professional. Mm-hmm. What's a real estate professional do? Knows the market. And by doing that and doing your lead generation, then that's going to get you setting the appointments, getting agreements signed with buyers and sellers, closing deals, all of that. So I want you assessing where you are, and you will get every month, you're going to get a check-in. It comes from my assistant or comes from my email. I don't know which, but it's your 30, 60, 90. And so at 30 days, it's going to say, here are the app, here's where you should be. Just as a check-in to kind of let you know, here's what you should be knocking off. Here's where you should be at 60 days. Now, for some of you, the timeline will be different, especially if you're working another job, but it gives you the awareness of what you should be accomplishing and where you are. And if you're not there, then have some conversations with your coach about, okay, what do I need to focus on the most? Because don't do all of, because some of it's like more administrative and just knocking things out here in the beginning for the starting of the business. But don't let that be to the detriment of you doing the lead gen and building your database and doing activities. Make sense? So start keeping track. We want to get you thinking like a business person, a business owner, because you own a business now. Crazy, right? You're a business owner. And in the beginning, in this first year, you're going to be just going by the seat of the pants. It's going to feel like sometimes. And I know you're not going to really be thinking like a business owner all the time in this first year, but I want to start setting that expectation. Because in the beginning, you're just hoping to get deals and get them to the finish table, to the finish line, to the closing table. Okay, accountability. We kind of talked about this already. And then we have tools. Time blocking is one of them. In order to hold yourself accountable, I love what all of you all said on how you hold yourself accountable. I loved hearing, Autumn, what you do with the program that you use. Actually, would you write in the chat what that software is that you use for others who might have missed that and might want to check that out? There is a book that Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote called The One Thing. The One Thing is not about real estate. It's about how we focus on our priorities. And it's not that you can only think about one thing. It's that when you are working on something, it should be your focus on that one thing and not 5 other things. And it is hard because in real estate, guess what? We do a lot of juggling balls. So it is hard to just focus on one thing and not multitask. And I think, I've read The One Thing, I think 4 times now, and I'm still a work in progress because I still will default to multitasking. I could do that. And then before I know it, I'm like all over the place. I've got 55 tabs open. I started this email. I've answered part of this text. And, that's why sometimes I'll look at my text and I'll go, oh, crud. I didn't send it. It's sitting right there because I went somewhere else. So I don't know if you've heard me say this. I think I said it recently. If you didn't have ADHD before you became a real estate agent, you will now. And part of it's that multitasking. And the One Thing really helps you start recognizing, whoa, I've got to have actual focus time. And that's going to be hard sometimes because you're wearing so many hats. And then the 411 is a tool within our business plan, our MREA business plan, that spreadsheet. The 411 is you coming up with, it starts with, and here, this is the code talk, that secret language we have, the GPS 135. It's also part of the business plan. That's where the 135, which we also call the GPS, is where you come up with the 3 forms of lead generation that you are committed to doing at a high level to hit your goal. And then you list the activities under each of those that are going to get you there for each of those. So one always has to be your database. I don't care if you have 2 people in your database or 2,000, we have to build a database. So that's always going to be one of the 135. Then you've got to decide, will open houses be one of my strategies? Will social media be one of my strategies? Will I geographic farm in a neighborhood? And then your 411 takes those and you break it down in a monthly and weekly. Here's what I need to do to accomplish these activities to hit that goal for this formal legion. So that it's an amazing tool to keep you on track, because I hear too many times some people who are new in real estate, I don't know what to do today. Oh my God, I got a list for you. I can keep you busy. Don't tell me you don't have anything to do. How's your database? Did you do your daily 10-4? How are you on? Did you do the whole announcement strategy? No, I got stuff for you. Okay, next slide. Plan for learning, kind of talked about that. Make it a goal that, so there are certain things that I do every year. I attend certain trainings. I go to Bold. So if you don't know about Bold, Bold is a high accountability lead generation class that comes to our market center every October. It's for 7 weeks, once a week. A Bold coach from Keller Williams International flies into town and pours into us at a very high level once a week for 7 weeks. It's not always comfortable, but it is to stretch you and to grow you. And it puts you in an environment that everybody's committed to working really hard to meet and work on goals. And then you have accountability partners. You're in table teams in which you support each other in hitting the goals that you all set every week. And then the instructor, the Bold coach, is showing you ways to grow. Showing you, like I was exposed to the best listing presentation I've ever heard or seen first time in Bold. That I blew and I've seen a lot. Some of the best scripts I've ever heard have come from Bold. I've taken Bold 13 times in 11 years. I could say I'm a slow learner. But I will tell you, every time I've taken Bold, because I've always taken, except once, I took it from the same Bold coach twice. But usually it's always been a different Bold coach. And I hear and pick up something different each time, because I'm in a different place. And I don't know about you, but for me, training and coaching resets my batteries and recharges them. Because as an individual, sometimes I just get worn out. Sometimes I got burned out, and plugging into something else that has energy and ideas and other people who have that energies and ideas is what refreshes me and recharges me. So Bold is a recharge session for me. And it's also a reminder, because I hear experienced agents say to me, Kristen, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. Right? You're learning the basics of real estate. It's not overly difficult. You work hard in doing all those things, but it's not like rocket science, right? But there's a difference in knowing and doing. And that's building those good business habits. That's that accountability. That's that time blocking. It's making sure you understand, I've got to set aside time for business and work on business. Make sense? So that's one of the things you're going to see, different learning opportunities. I would love if you would have it on your future goals, thinking of David's future goals that he has, that you want to go to one of our national conventions. Family reunion is always in February. Here's what I love. It's always in a warm weather location. They move it around. And you're going to be exposed to top agents in our company from all across the United States and the world. And they're going to share with you what they do and how they do it on every topic that you can imagine that has to do with real estate. And it's phenomenal. When I went in February, there were how many? I think we had 17,000 Keller Williams agents in Las Vegas. It's crazy busy. It's crazy crowds, but it's phenomenal energy and learning. I come back with stuff every single time. I'm writing so many notes. I'm like, oh my gosh, my head explodes. I actually have to come back and prioritize because I can't do everything. I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. Matter of fact, I used to try to do that. And then sometimes my coaches would say, Kristen, we can't do all of that. I'm like, okay, so what should we do? What's the best of this? So I come back really jazzed. And then the other thing that we have is Mega Camp. That's in August. It's always in Austin, Texas. Now they might have to move it because it's growing. But it is a more intimate setting, but it's still about 5,000 to 8,000. I think the biggest has been 10,000 that have attended Mega Camp. And it is mostly Gary Keller on stage interviewing top agents also on what they do, mega agents. So that you're seeing what people do and how they do it. And you'll get ideas. You'll say, I like what that person did. I like this portion of what that person did. I like what this person did. Usually our businesses are a accumulation of the different things that we've seen other people do. And then we bring it together and we make it our own. I'm going to tell you, there's not a lot of new and original, but that's why I like to go to these, because then I do come across those that are new and original. And I'll be like, whoa, they're doing that. I love that. Like I learned a different way to focus on farming at family reunion. I used to do it old school, meaning you just do the slow drip on a neighborhood once a month. You're doing something. Well, I learned from Steve Schluter going to his farming class at family reunion that do a hyper target, meaning go do your research, look at the most recent canceled and expireds. And if they didn't go back on the market and sell, they did raise their hand at one point recently or in the last couple of years, and for some reason they didn't move forward, that you hyper focus on them to see if you can get momentum with them while you're still talking to the whole neighborhood, but you're really spending more time and attention and probably some dollars on them on mailings and all that. See if you can get them to pop. So just that one little strategy, I was like, that's brilliant. I love that. So increasing and growing your skill and knowledge should be a constant state for you. Now, there is a danger. Here's the danger. That you love learning so much that you don't go out and do. You got to go do. You can't get all book smart. You can, but you will go hungry. Let's just be real. I don't want you going hungry. So get learned up and do, and figure out what you're going to apply. And if you go to these trainings and what have you, and talk to your coach and say, here are the great ideas I got that I think I want to apply to my business, and see if it makes sense. See if it fits in what direction you're wanting to go. Okay. And here are some of the other courses they have through MAPS, which is the Keller Williams Coaching and Training division. So bold's on there. There's a class called 6 Personal Perspectives. I usually teach it every year. Small finances. There's also different things that you can find on Connect. So when you go into Command, one of the top things that you can click on at the top bar is Connect. Think of Connect as the education piece. So there are online courses there. There are free courses on there. You can also find the MAPS courses that you can pay for. So there's free, there's paid for, all of that. There's a ton of learning. There's a ton of videos on there. So go be a sponge. Go be a sponge. The more you know, and then go do. Don't just be smart and keep it to yourself. I talked about different, and then the books. I talked about the one thing. Here's a book. All of you, if you didn't yet, all of you should get a copy of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. If you haven't gotten that, come to me and I will give that to you. I give it to free to all of the new agents. Read it. It's where all of our training comes from. But the next book I would actually recommend you read is Shift. That is the book that was written for us to deal with when the market changes on us suddenly. Because too many agents, so 2007, some of you don't even remember 2007. But that's when our world came to a crash in real estate.
Mhm,
Kansas City was not hit as hard, but it was hard.
mhm.
You want to know something? There were more agents licensed when I became a new agent than there are now. There were over 14,000 licensed agents when I was an agent in 2001. Because real estate was really easy.
Yeah.
It was really easy, and it's when we had all the stuff that led to the fall. We had 100% loans. Do you know we had no doc loans, meaning you didn't even have to provide employment documents to prove that you made as much as you said you made? Crazy. You could get 110% loan. What? No down payments? Crazy stuff. There was mortgage fraud. Do you know Kansas City was in the top 5 cities for mortgage fraud at that time? There was appraisal fraud going on. There was crazy. I'll give you an example. I had a listing. A buyer's agent said, we want, I think, like the house was 130,000. She said, we're going to write an offer for 150,000. I said, well, it won't appraise. That's crazy. And she said, no, not, it will with the appraiser we use.
Mhm.
And then the buyer was getting that money.
Wow.
And so it inflated the value. I mean, there's crazy stuff going on. There were straw buyers left and right. It was crazy. So all of that crazy stuff that was going on that made it so easy for anybody, almost anybody, to buy a house was great at the time, but then the price was that none of that was real. And so it came crashing down. And so the agent population went crashing down too, because here's where we then had more foreclosures and short sales. I'd never heard of a short sale. None of my peers had done a short sale until 2007, 2008. Short sale means the seller, the owner, owns more on their house than it's worth. And that if they go to sell it, they don't have the money to pay the difference. And the bank has to agree to let them sell that short of what they owe. That changed our world. And there were agents out there that said, I'm never going to do a short sale. I'm never going to do a foreclosure like it was a dirty thing. Well, 30% of our market became that inventory. It actually hurt regular listings that weren't distressed, because there might be 2 foreclosures or short sales in their neighborhood that were priced lower that they were competing against. So if you didn't have to sell, you probably weren't going to sell at that time because you're competing against too many distressed properties. Crazy. That's where Shift, that book, came in. It also applies now to where, we've got stuff in just the years since the pandemic. I will tell you, yes, we've been a crazy seller's market, but I've probably seen 8 different shifts within that seller's market. 8. And you've got to be able to identify those, like and we're back at it to a certain extent, but then we're not. We have a real mixed bag now. We have some properties getting multiple offers way over tens of thousands of dollars over list price. And then we have all these price reductions.
Mhm.
And so you've got to be able to make heads and tails of that. Why is that happening? Right? So we as agents have to figure this out. Whereas a couple of years ago, it was mostly just the crazy stuff going on with the limited inventory, and buyers were actually buying anything. And now they won't buy just anything. They'll buy a good house and maybe go crazy on overbid on it, but they won't on a house that's not in good condition for its price. Because if they're going to pay over, they want a really good house. So the buyers in the last 2 years got even pickier, and also the interest rates went up. So see all these factors? That's why reading the book Shift could be so powerful for you because you've got to keep the mindset of I've got to be flexible as the business changes. There was a time during the pandemic we couldn't do any open houses. Luckily, it didn't last very long. But guess what? Some of our agents, one of their major ways, one of their lead ways of doing business with open houses, you had to totally shift what you were doing and come up with something else, right? So you've got to be thinking this way, and Shift is a powerful book for you to read to create that mindset and be thinking, okay, right now, because we have fewer buyers, you've got to go find the motivated. Do not waste time with people who kind of think that they may want to buy a house, but they want you to show them houses. They won't get pre-approved. They're not willing to do a competitive offer. Then don't spend time with them. Spend time with somebody who has to move. You've got it right now. You don't have the luxury to spend time because it can take you so long to find a buyer, a house. You do not have the luxury to spend it with people who are truly not committed and willing to go out there and fight for a house. Because if they're not willing to go over list price, whoa. So Shift is a powerful, great book for you to read. Oh, going the wrong way. Okay, our mission at Keller Williams, I think it's, hearing, I know some of it sounds fluffy and some of it sounds rah, but truly our mission is to help you build careers worth having, businesses worth owning. That's why we put so much emphasis on business building, not just being an agent, lives worth living. That's why we have so much mindset in our training, because we don't want you getting burned out and crazy. This is a hard business and it's a rewarding business, but you got to protect yourself and take care of yourself. Experiences worth giving. That's where, when we talk about your big why, what is it you want it to do for you and your family? What do you want to be able to provide others? Or maybe you want to give back to your community or your church or a nonprofit that means a lot to you. And then legacies worth leaving. What are you going to leave? I don't even know if all of you understand what profit share is about. Profit share is where, you had to name somebody when you came on board as your sponsor, right? And that person was instrumental in you joining this office or Keller Williams. It doesn't even have to be this office for them to name you as a sponsor. And that means that every month in this office, our office profits are split two ways. 60% goes to the franchise owner, David. 40% of the profits go to agents who had sponsorees who did business and had closings that month. Okay, because they contributed to the profit, right? And then it's divided between those sponsors who their people did. Okay, so it is a great way to build wealth. I'm going to tell you, you want to know how much I've made in 11 years? And I don't say this to brag, I show you potential because I think it's really important. And you don't have to participate in this. You don't have to talk to people about getting into real estate. You don't have to talk to, you're going to come across some co-op agents who you think this would be a great environment for them. But you don't have to say anything. But if you do have the opportunity, and it's a great way to build retirement. Remember, there's no 401k match here, right? You're self-employed. And it's important, I believe, that you have additional streams of income as an entrepreneur. And in real estate, you could get into investment property. I want you thinking that way down the line. You may not be ready to do that, but that's an amazing way to build wealth. So my profit share last month for April, it's always for the previous month because they haven't posted for May yet. They won't until the 15th of the month. Okay, so I made almost $1,000. And my lifetime total over 11 years, how much do you guys think I've made in 11 years? Because my first 2 years I didn't hardly make anything. Any guesses?
50.
91,000.
91.
$240.47. It helped me pay for my portion of my daughter's college without having to take a loan.
Mhm.
It goes into my retirement. I also use some of it for travel. Again, I want to introduce you to these things because here's what I love about this. Do you remember you had to pick a beneficiary? So if tomorrow I die, this goes to my daughter.
Mhm.
As long as there are people who name me as their sponsor that are actively doing real estate in Keller Williams and closing deals, she would get the money every month. Is that cool or what? That's leaving a legacy. So it's also a way to build wealth. And if I wanted to get that return in investments, think about how much money I would have to have in investments in stocks or whatever to make an average of in my good years, I usually average 10 to 13,000 a year.
Mhm.
Think about, I'd have to have 350, 400,000 and have a really good rate of return minimum to get that kind of money every year. And I didn't invest a dime. I just
Mhm.
built relationships. That's all I did. So just food for thought. As people, especially when you're new, people are going to ask you, well, how'd you get into real estate? What do you think
Mhm.
about it? I'm thinking about getting my license. If that happens, if they're brand new and they're not licensed, partner them with me. I give them the talk about how to get licensed and all of that. You just stay in a relationship. We don't ask you to recruit. We just ask you to introduce. Tell them what your experience is, but don't do a hard sell. We're not about hard sell. We're looking for people that this would be a good fit for.
Mhm.
Make sense? Any questions about profit share? Now, there are 7 levels of profit share. Do not ask me the percentages. I just know I make more money on the first line and then like my 5th line. So it's different. So the people who name me as a sponsor, then if they have people that name them and then they have people. So I have 66 people in my profit share tree in different levels. So I have like 21 in my first line that named me, and then the rest are that named them and named them and named them, but I have 66. So, and we built this because, and the reason I bring up profit share, it's not about you making money off of people. I don't want you to get this right. That's a lovely benefit of it. It goes to our culture of sharing.
Mhm.
So if there are people that have named you as a sponsor, then we all have a vested interest in this office doing well and you doing well and all of us doing well. And that's why we share. That's why experienced agents are going to help you and share what they do. They're not going to keep secrets. It's very unusual in our world. It's against culture. Yeah, because we believe by helping everybody, we all do better. And it's true. So that's where it's amazing. And Gary Keller said, I wanted to do something that would reward our agents for helping us grow. And remember, they can join any Keller Williams office. It doesn't just have to be this one. It could be one in North Carolina and they name you as a sponsor. So we're almost done. Get real about your situation and get right about what you're doing. Bring a greater sense of clarity, priority, and focus to your work. That's going to be hard at first because everything feels like chaos. Remember, I've talked about the chaos that goes on here in the beginning, right? So that's where I want you guys remembering, try to bring a little bit more focus all the time to what you're doing and how you're doing this, because you've got to be building a business. And that takes time. This is not overnight. Okay. Want to hear some ahas?
The profit sharing was real interesting. I've kind of heard some, a little bit about it, but that's very cool how that's kind of like a secondary income flow within your same business. And if you, for some reason, 1 month, I don't know, it was a bad month or you needed some extra money, you're able to get that extra additional cash.
Connor, that's exactly. I wish when I'd been an agent, because sometimes you're going to have deals that don't close. Actually, they're going to go down in fire. We don't close every deal. And in August of my second year, I had 3 deals under contract. And guess what? Each one of them individually went down in flames. Different issues. One was financing, one was a title issue. There was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't control. And I was in a panic because I had nothing in the pipeline for the next month. So I was hyperventilating. If I'd had profit share, knew that some money was coming in. Now here's the thing. You don't know how much it's going to be so it's like Christmas on the 21st of every month. I look and I go, whoa, yippee dogs. But I know I've never had a month where I've never gotten anything. And so that's why you had to fill out that deposit slip. That's for putting profit share in there if you choose to do it. Also, think of it, it's passive income. Like I said, you don't have to spend money to get this return. Where else can you do that? And make 91,000 in 11 years? Tell me, just tell me. Do you know another way of doing it? Because I'm for it. So I just open that idea to you. Again, we don't force you to you don't have to do it, but I definitely want you to know that opportunity. David, what were your takeaways from today?
I think it was helpful just to have the 10, the 10-10.
The daily 10-4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Good deal. Good deal. Autumn, what about you?
Just re-glancing at my notes here, just a lot of different resources, different ideas of how to get and keep the ball rolling.
Good deal. Good deal. Redker, what about you? Takeaways from today?
Consistency will pay off.
Consistency will pay off. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your participation. You guys have a great rest of the day and be purposeful. This business it grows. Let me say this. Your business will go as fast, it will grow as fast as you go. And for some of you, it's okay if you go slower. Just know that this is built on momentum. And when you're not consistent, like Redker was saying, you will feel it and your business will reflect it. It's like you create a money gap every time you're inconsistent. Like you don't do anything for 4 or 5 days in working and building this business, you're going to see that down the line. So thank you. Appreciate you guys. And next month, we're going to have a lot of guest speakers. We're going to have a title company come in 2 different times to talk, one about closing statements and title commitments. So you can have a better understanding and clarity on what the heck are those? What do they mean? What is all of that? We're going to have a home warranty company come in and talk about why would you want to recommend home warranties? What do they do? What do they don't do? How can they be negotiated and be of benefit to a buyer and a seller? We also will have a home inspector come and really tell you what they do, how they do it, and what are some of the most common items that we find. How do you explain how do you set good expectations with your buyers about inspections? Because some of them will freak out. If you do not, they'll freak out anyway. So those are just some of the things that'll be coming up in June. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.